Waitress's amazing instincts saved Mafia boss's life after discovering a hidden danger. Emma stood behind the diner counter, the clatter of dishes a familiar symphony amidst the tangy smell of frying bacon. Her worn-out shoes ached, but the weight on her shoulders was heavier. Tyler needed new shoes for school, rent was due, and her father's medications were piling up. As she poured steaming coffee for a regular, her forced smile masked an aching heart. Dreams of a brighter future for her and her son slipped further away each day. "Thanks, Em," the man said, taking his cup with a weary smile. "Anytime," she replied, glancing toward the entrance. The diner buzzed with the typical chaos, laughter echoing off the linoleum floors when the door swung open. A chill swept in as a man in a sharply tailored suit stepped inside, his confidence palpable. Emma's stomach coiled with unease. He was the type the neighborhood feared. Whispers of legitimacy cloaked in menace floated through the block. She recognized him from tales poked about in hushed tones. Rumor had it he was a mobster, a man who commanded respect and instilled dread. As he settled into a booth, uneasiness rippled through her, each laugh morphing into an uneasy chuckle. Emma observed the stark contrast between him and the regulars who sipped coffee while gossiping about their lives, a world away from the shadows lurking behind this suited figure. The diner felt heavy, suffocating under the weight of his presence. A sudden tension danced in the air as she noticed a pair of men lurking outside the glass door. The way they leaned against the railing sent the spikes of fear through her. Her heart raced, breaths quickening. She forced herself to breathe deeply in an effort to keep calm. A nagging thought latched onto her mind. What if something terrible was about to unfold right in front of her? Could she simply stand by and let it happen? She felt torn, a battle raging inside her. Should she inform the suited man of the lurking threat? What if her instincts were wrong? Fear and loyalty collided, and she grappled with the possibility of saving a man rumored to be dangerous. The moral implications twisted her gut, questioning her very notion of right and wrong. What kind of life could Tyler have if she threw herself into the chaos of this world? She cringed at the thought of her father's face, frail and in need of her care, and all but crumbled momentarily. But then Tyler's smile flickered in her mind, fueling her determination. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With a steely resolve, Emma squared her shoulders and approached the Mafia boss's table. "Excuse me, sir," she hesitated, the words thick in her throat. "There are some men outside. You might want to be cautious." The silence that followed heralded shock. The diner's chatter dulled to an uncomfortable stillness. Her voice trembled on the edge of fear. His dark eyes leveled with her, inscrutable, and she felt the weight of the diner's gaze. Was she too bold? Had she crossed a line she couldn't retreat from? He didn't respond, and tension twisted, leaving a bitter taste in her mouth. Self-doubt crept back in. The fear of backlash loomed heavy. This wasn't a film. This was her life, and now she had put her family in jeopardy. The restaurant dipped into whispers. Shadows flickered in the corners of her mind. The risk she took stirred a sense of burgeoning chaos. She had no idea how the night would unravel. Would they retaliate? Would her act of defiance spiral into something unforgivable? Emma's breath hitched as the looming threat felt palpable. She gazed out the window, the world beyond blending into a blur of indistinct shapes. No turning back now. The storm was coming, and her instincts had tangled her fate in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. Standing isolated in that threatening silence, she not only felt the weight of her choice, but the creeping realization that this chapter of her life was just beginning, setting the stage for an uncertain future that tested the limits of courage, family, and survival. Emma's heartbeat echoed in her ears, drowning out the clattering of dishes and muted conversations around her. The Mafia boss remained silent, studying her as if she were an unsolved puzzle, and her skin prickled under the intensity of his gaze. The diners, once oblivious to serious threat, now appeared frozen, every pair of eyes glued to their unexpected scene. She fought the urge to fidget, reminding herself why she was there. Tyler, her father. This was not just about a mobster and danger. It was about her family, their welfare hanging in the balance. The weight of that truth crystallized her resolve. "What's your name?" he finally asked, his voice smooth yet laced with an undercurrent of curiosity. "Emma," she answered, surprised by her steadiness. "I work here." "Do you have any idea who I am, Emma?" She blinked, taking a steady breath. "I know enough to know you shouldn't be put in harm's way." A flicker of amusement danced in his eyes, and for a brief moment, the tension broke. But the laughter outside, low, menacing, snapped her focus back to reality. She could hear the muffled voices now, more distinct, mixing with the inner dialogue clamoring for survival, for reprieve from this hellish uncertainty. "Get your things, we're leaving," he ordered, rising from his seat. The authority in his tone surprised her. How quickly he transitioned from contemplation to action. "I can't just," she protested, glancing back toward the diner's back room where her belongings were stashed. "You don't have a choice." A sense of urgency flooded her. She had broken her routine. She had stepped into the unknown. A spark ignited within her. Was this the opportunity she'd been waiting for? An unexpected door swinging open to a world far from the mundanity of her diner life. He gestured toward the door, and she moved into motion, a response more instinct than thought. This chaotic decision felt surreal, but in that fleeting moment, adrenaline thrummed through her veins, sharpening her senses. She grabbed her bag, mind racing. Where was this headed? Outside the diner, the streetlights flickered, shadowed by the long shadows of the looming men. The Mafia boss approached them without hesitation, his confidence radiating a magnetic energy. "Step aside, gentlemen," he asserted, voice low yet commanding, each word brimming with latent power. Emma stood frozen, the contrast between his authority and her trembling uncertainty stark. While he planned his approach, Emma caught a whiff of potential disaster, a notion surfacing from her core. She could not simply be dragged along. She had to act. She didn't want to become collateral damage in someone else's war. "Wait," she called, startling herself. He turned, arching an eyebrow. "What?" "There has to be a way to diffuse this without resorting to—" She hesitated, weighing her words. "Violence." He considered her, and the absurdity of her suggestion dawned on her. A waitress turning peacekeeper amidst mobsters? But the universe seemed to have conspired for moments like these. "Interesting," he murmured, a flicker of curiosity igniting in his eyes. "You think you can negotiate?" Something inside her ignited, an ember of courage flickering to life. If there's a chance of saving lives, yes. Emma wasn't just a waitress. She was a mother, a daughter, a protector. And in that crucial moment, within the murky shadows of a confrontation tinged with danger, she felt a shift. Her instincts were guiding her. The time had come to discover just how deep her capabilities ran. As the situation escalated, the gravity of the moment solidified her resolve. This was her proving ground. "What if you let me help?" she proposed, her voice steadier now, underpinned by an unexpected strength. His expression changed, demonstrating that her audacity had not gone unnoticed. But outside, the lingering tension thickened, and as the men loomed closer, Emma realized she had nudged the first domino in a precarious line that could lead to salvation or destruction. The winds of her life were shifting, and they would sweep her into a decision far more powerful than she had ever imagined. The moment of truth awaited, and she wasn't certain if she was merely stepping to the edge of something profound or plunging into an abyss. Would she be able to negotiate safety, or had she unwittingly woven herself into a web of chaos? As uncertainty gnawed at her thoughts, Emma could feel a storm on the horizon, a storm of her own making that could unravel everything she held dear. Emma's heart raced as the Mafia boss regarded her with a keen curiosity. The chaos outside continued to build, yet the weight of his gaze anchored her in the moment. Could she truly be the catalyst for a resolution? The prospect sent tremors through her, both exciting and terrifying. "Help?" he echoed, a slight smirk curling at the corners of his mouth. "And what do you think you can do? You're just a waitress." Just a waitress. The words rang sharply in her ears, slicing through her confidence. But she felt something push back. No longer did she want that phrase to define her. This situation had stripped away the limits she'd placed on herself, thrusting her into a reality where her voice still mattered. "I know this town," she asserted, trying to muster authority in her tone. "I know these people. It's not just about you or your men. It's about everyone in this diner and what you represent. There's always a way to talk things out." He paused, considering her with a newfound respect that sparked a flicker of hope inside her. Maybe this was the moment she had been preparing for her whole life, even if she had never realized it. Every shift spent sidestepping irate customers, negotiating with unruly drunks, had trained her in resilience and empathy. "I need time," she said quickly, scanning the gathering shadows on the street. Time for what, precisely? She wasn't sure, but instinct told her it was in the negotiation itself where she might find power. His silence was heavy, punctuated only by the distant sound of sirens. Emma noticed the men outside shifting uneasily. She could feel a swell of tension around them, urging her to make them listen. But this was her battle now, not theirs. "What do you propose?" he asked finally, his voice lowered as if he were testing the waters of her determination. "Give me a chance to reason with them. Show them there's a better option than violence, for all of us," she offered, her mind racing through any knowledge she had of these mobsters, of their fears and desires. The boss was quiet again, weighing her words as if he were deciding the fate of a life in the palm of his hand. Emma felt the urgency to act surge within her, a flickering flame against the backdrop of impending doom. "All right, little waitress, you have 5 minutes, but don't waste my time. Make it work." His words were clipped, direct, yet Emma caught mischief dancing in his gaze. She stepped forward instinctively, drawing from her innermost reservoir of strength and survival. "Let me talk to them," she insisted. Clenching her fists, she felt a pull of authenticity, an inherent drive to take on the challenge head-on. It wasn't just about her anymore. It was about proving to herself and to him that she was so much more than his initial assumption. Emma approached the entrance with trepidation and resolve, every step resonating with the fluctuations of power now at play. The men's faces were shadowed by their surroundings, but she sensed their skepticism as they gripped their weapons, eyes narrowing on her. "What do you want, waitress?" one barked, dripping disdain, the heat of the hostile environment pushing against her. "I want to talk," she said, surprise coloring even her own tone. "You're not just here for a fight. You want respect and assurance, a different outcome that doesn't end in bloodshed." Their laughter echoed like a chilling wind, but somewhere within her, doubt fought against her burgeoning confidence. Could she turn the tide? "I know you're here for something," Emma pressed, desperation tightening her voice. "But I also know my community. There's an understood balance, a way to live without sabotaging each other's lives." The group exchanged wary glances, her earnestness slowly pricking at their hardened exteriors. She could feel it. This was her moment of truth, the line between the fragility of her standing and the emerging strength within. But as the words spilled forth, inviting consideration, her mind raced ahead, calculating the impacts on both sides. Could she genuinely forge a path toward a peaceful resolution, or was she merely playing a fool's game? As one of the figures stepped forward, she sensed that the gamble would either anchor her or drag her under. "All right, let's talk," he finally grumbled, but just as he spoke, the sound of sirens grew louder, echoing through the night, and the heaviness of uncertainty settled back into the air. Emma cast a glance back at the boss, her breathing quickening. Would he stand by her or unleash chaos if her words failed to resonate? The interaction felt electric, as if the unseen energetic thread connecting her desperation to their animosity could either snap or reveal an unexpected pathway. This was no longer about survival alone. It was about understanding that sometimes strength manifested not in violence, but in the audacity to seek peace amidst war. Would her desires materialize into actual power, or would they dissipate into the abyss of failure and regret? The moment was stretched taut between possibility and peril, each heartbeat echoing indeterminably in a world she was still learning to navigate. And then, just as the first hesitant words spilled forth, the phone in her pocket vibrated, her father's name flashing like a beacon. The phone vibrated insistently, a stark reminder of the life Emma had left behind for this chaotic moment. When she glanced at the screen, it illuminated her father's name, one she hadn't seen in months. That flicker of familial urgency shattered any residual doubt stirring within her. This was more than a fleeting confrontation. It was a pivotal point in her narrative. Moments away from a potentially violent eruption, uncertainty loomed heavily around her. Yet a newfound resolve sparked in her core. "Hold on," she told the surrounding men, raising her hand to stall them as she discreetly swiped to answer. "What's wrong, Dad?" His voice came through, low and urgent, filled with uncharacteristic anxiety. "Emma, where are you? Is everything okay?" "I'm fine," she said, though the words felt hollow. "Just busy. What's happening?" "Listen, I don't have much time. The situation you're in, the Mafia?" "Dad, I can handle this. I've got a plan." His exasperated huff resonated through the speaker. "You don't know these people. They're dangerous." A knot tightened in her stomach. Those words echoed like a sharp rebuke of her confidence. Instinctively, she clenched her jaw, pushing frustration aside. "I have to go. Just trust me," she replied, cutting the call before he could further dissuade her. Emma cast a quick glance at the men. They were still watching her closely, assessment and suspicion painting their faces. The longer she wrestled with doubt, the easier it would be for them to dismiss her. She needed to act. "Let's make this really simple," she continued, voice steadying. "I get it. You're here to assert control, to negotiate on your own terms. I'm willing to help you, but you need to listen to me first." The man who had stepped forward narrowed his eyes, evaluating her. "Why should we? You're just a waitress. You don't speak our language." With each challenge, Emma felt more of the weight of her past shift into empowerment. She recalled every disagreement quelled with a smile, every argument navigated with tact behind the diner's counter. "Because I understand loyalty," she replied, forcing confidence into her voice. "You want loyalty. You want to ensure your own kind isn't swept up in this. I understand that. I know people in this town, perhaps better than you do. Just give me a chance to explain." Another man scoffed, but the leader, whose steely facade had begun to crack, nodded slowly, considering. Emma could feel the dynamic shift, the air thick with weaving threads of hope. "What do you propose?" he asked again, though this time his demeanor suggested he wanted to know instead of challenging her authority. Emma's mind raced, weaving narratives of potential peace while grasping the threads of the unfolding conversation. "You clearly want something more than just to flex muscle. You want respect from the community. Let's use this moment to showcase that you are willing to compromise, to be seen as protectors rather than aggressors." The men exchanged glances, uncertain but intrigued. Each second counted as sirens continued to wail in the distance, growing louder as if creeping closer to their confrontation. "What's your idea?" one of them inquired, furrowing his brow. "We can set up a meeting, unofficially, in a neutral area. I'll gather community leaders, show them you're not just the boogeyman everyone thinks you are. Instead, you're powerful allies. Show some kindness, some respect toward them, something to gain for all parties involved. but you need to be ready to engage with them openly. Leader regarded her, a pensive look crossing his visage. You really think they'll listen to a waitress? I'm telling you, I might have something they want. Fear isn't the only way to gain control. Emma felt freer with each daring word, the weight of expectation grounding her. At that moment, the reality dawned. She was no longer just a spectator in her life or a side character to be dismissed. Each challenge shaped her into a force that could steer even the momentum of these hardened men. Prove it then. His voice cut through the tension like a blade. And understand, if you fail, it's not just on you. I won't fail, she shot back, surprise even to herself at her confidence. The stakes felt monumental, yet something deep inside urged her forward, igniting a fireball of determination. As she turned back toward gathering pieces of her contingency, one thought gripped her unfaltering. She had shifted beyond being just a helpless waitress. The boldness with which she confronted uncertainty felt unsettling, yet exhilarating. The point of no return had come, but failure was no longer a specter lurking at her peripheral. Instead, it morphed into an exhilarating journey she now had to map out. And she would. But just as she caught the leader's nod of reluctant approval, the diner windows shattered under the sound of rapid gunfire, snapping the fragile hope they had kindled in one heartbeat. Would she manage to defuse it all in time? Or would chaos crush her nascent strength before it could genuinely blossom? The air vibrated with chaos, and Emma's heart raced as she instinctively ducked behind a nearby table, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Shattered glass fell like rain, painting the floor with glinting shards. The sharp staccato of gunfire drowned desperation, drowning her thoughts in a tide of fear. Reality crashed back into her. Her audacity had pulled her into a different dimension of control, a dimension now threatened by unhinged violence. A chilling revelation struck her. For a fleeting moment, she had felt strong enough to handle her destiny. Yet, here she was, teetering on the edge of utter chaos. She peered over the table's edge, her determination fighting back the instinct to flee. The men she had been negotiating with were scrambling for cover, their tough exteriors fractured in the face of danger, their vulnerabilities peeled back like scales, revealing a shared fear she hadn't anticipated. The leader, who once stared her down with steely resolve, was now frantic, his facade cracked wide open. Emma saw him reach for his phone, perhaps to call for backup, but the act only solidified her will. She had to intervene, not just to salvage her plan, but to assert her newly burgeoning identity amid turmoil. Pushing through the panic, a strategy formed. "Get down," she yelled, projecting her voice above the din. The men hesitated. Words had never held weight with them, but the urgency in her tone, rooted in a visceral reality, forced them to comply. Emma glanced around the room. She could feel the tension in her hands, ready to be transformed into decisive action. "We need to move or we'll be trapped here." The clarity of her determination sparked a flicker of instinct among them. With a swift kick, she nudged a heavy wooden crate towards a blind spot behind the counter, gesturing for the men to help push it. The leader, momentarily taken aback by her daring initiative, joined her as the other men followed. As the crate slid into position, she felt a shared reliance burgeon in the chaos. She wasn't just a waitress anymore. She was a player, an agent of change. In that moment of frantic movement, she recalled her endless hours at the diner, handling unruly customers, resolving conflicts with grace, managing chaotic orders. Each skill intertwined seamlessly into a tapestry of competence she hadn't fully acknowledged until now. "Once we're behind this, we need to devise an exit plan," she instructed, shifting gears. The leaders were still apprehensive, but listened, their eyes sharpened in curiosity. "Look, I know this area. I've weathered my share of storms, and if anyone knows how to navigate through trouble, it's me." The cracks in their bravado widened. They were desperate and shared fleeting glances that begged for confidence amid uncertainty. Emma felt the shift. They needed leadership, and she was beginning to embody it, even if the mantle was laden with risk. "Do you have a way out?" the leader asked, his voice a low rumble. "Through the kitchen," she responded firmly, recognition for urgency sparking in her chest anew. "But we can't go until I signal. We have to move together or we'll be sitting ducks. You deal with the rest. I'll lead the way." With a reluctant nod, they huddled closer, awaiting her next command. Instilling harmony in the chaos was exhilarating, a blend of instinct and realization. Each tick of the clock reverberated against the increasing resolve within her. Taking a deep breath, Emma recalibrated her mental footing. The weight of potential failure was heavy, yet bore the promise of transformation. She had grasped the role of a leader in a fight not only for survival but for validation. As the gunfire sporadically echoed outside, she counted inwardly, feeling fear morph into readiness. "On my count," she whispered, the impulse to lead pulling her taut with anticipation. This was her moment, one that would not just define her potential, but also the new identity she would forge out of this crisis. The moment hung suspended, and with a nod, Emma initiated the exit plan. The next step could either crown her as a formidable force or dismantle the fragile confidence she had just discovered. Just then, the shattering echo of silence, followed by ominous footsteps outside, signaled that whatever happened next would irrevocably change everything she knew. Would she emerge from this defining moment with her identity intact, or would the consequences of that choice threaten to unravel her newly constructed reality? The heavy tension in the air thickened as Emma steadied her breath. Shadows amassed beyond the kitchen door, and clarity emerged within the chaotic pulse of her heartbeat. She looked to the huddled group of men, their eyes wide with uncertainty, void of the bravado they had displayed just moments before. The room seemed to stifle any lingering doubt, a silent command demanding action. "On my count, we move," she said, throat tightening with authority. An internal voice questioned if she was prepared for what lay beyond. The gunfire, the threat. Regardless, she had no time to dwell. 3, 2, she intoned, pausing to absorb the anxious energy around her. 1. She bolted forward, sprinting towards the kitchen door, the adrenaline slicing through her hesitation. The clatter of feet echoed behind her. She felt their presence, their hesitation blending into her newfound conviction. Each step propelled her farther from the timid waitress she had been, edging closer to the leader she desperately wanted to embody. The kitchen was a tapestry of chaos, pots and pans strewn across surfaces, the strong smell of grease perfuming the air. Navigating through the disarray, Emma's focus sharpened. She quickly scanned the room, searching for a viable escape route. The back door, partially ajar, beckoned like a beacon of hope. "Here," she prompted, pointing towards the door, her voice cutting through the haze of panic. The men followed, redoubling their efforts as they skirted through the open space, urgency guiding their movements. As they reached the door, Emma could feel the weight of their collective desperation pressing against her. The leader positioned himself slightly in front, an unconscious act of protection. Yet in this moment, Emma realized it was she who had become the shield, both for them and for herself. Instinct surged within her, a tidal wave of raw capability. At that moment, each conversation she had ever navigated, every argument she had ever diffused, coalesced into a singular clarity of purpose. "Wait," she commanded, her heart leaping as she stepped ahead. A surveillance mirror caught her eye. Another doorway, another layer of concealment. It led into a narrow alley behind the diner. "We need to go out the back and stick to the shadows. No one should see us." The men exchanged glances, weighing her suggestion, but her tone carried an unwavering conviction. Slowly, they nodded in agreement. She took the lead again, determination solidifying around her like armor. As they slipped into the alley, Emma's senses heightened. The cacophony of chaos behind them faded into a continuous hum. The gravity of her role struck her anew. She was responsible for these lives. This was transformational, an evolution born out of chaos. But lurking behind that realization was another stirring, a looming question about her circumstances and motives. What had compelled her to act so boldly? Was it a genuine desire to save them, or was it the intoxicating rush of newfound power? The thought lingered uncomfortably, daring her to confront it. Emerging from the constraints of her previous identity was both exhilarating and alarming. She had discovered a latent strength within herself, ignited under pressure. But what if it unlatched a darker side she could not control? "Keep moving," she urged the men, directing her focus outward once more. She siphoned energy from each step towards liberation, yet unease prickled at her conscience. The alley twisted before them, an uncertain passage into an equally uncertain future. Finally, they reached a service door leading to the main street. As she pressed to open it, Emma paused, glancing back at the group. These were the men she had once feared, and now they stood steady, tethered to her command. This unexpected dynamic was intoxicating yet troubling. Would her role as their leader hold, or was this delicate foundation built on the fleeting illusion of control? The door creaked open, revealing a bustling street just beyond. Freedom lay tantalizingly close, yet as they stepped through, a formidable realization hardened her resolve. She had initiated a transformation, not only within herself, but also in the fragile alliance she had forged with these men. Whatever came next, it was clear her newfound identity would face the ultimate test. Behind them, the echoes of chaos returned, intensifying with the weight of impending confrontation. The final choice loomed. Emma faced a world that had irrevocably pivoted on her actions. Would she seize her leadership or retreat back to familiarity? The answer hung heavy in the air as they stepped into the unknown, standing at the edge of a pivotal moment that demanded clarity amid uncertainty. What threat awaited them outside, and could she navigate this fragile web of allegiance and newfound power? As they stepped onto the street, commotion swirled around them. Bright lights flickered amid the murky shadows cast by the diner's exterior. It felt as if the world were holding its breath, suspended and waiting for them to make their next move. The cacophony of honking cars, distant shouts, and the hum of neighboring conversations surged against Emma like a relentless tide. She turned, gauging the men behind her. Their expressions had shifted from hesitation to a tentative determination, yet shadows of doubt lingered in their eyes. They were disoriented by the sudden change in their circumstances. Emma searched her own feelings. She was no longer the timid waitress. She was the reluctant liberator, and there was no turning back. "Stay close," she instructed, her tone firmer than before. The immediate danger had receded, but the uncertainty of what lay ahead grasped at her mind, wrapping around it like a tight coil. Each decision now carried the weight of responsibility. The street was a vast expanse stretched out before them, filled with possibilities and impending threats. She had to plan their next steps. "We can't stay here. Stick to the alleys and avoid the crowds as much as possible." Emma noticed each man nodding, their trust in her growing with every meticulous word. Each time they followed her command, it solidified her identity, further revealing the leader within. They moved through the narrow passages, her instinct guiding them toward quieter streets. Emma felt the burgeoning power of her choices. Back in the diner, she had felt small and insignificant. Now, she was navigating through danger, a brand new role. But that sudden influx of authority ignited a flicker of fear deep within her. It whispered questions. What if they relied on her too heavily? What if she made a wrong choice that cost them everything? A surge of determination flowed through her. This isn't just about survival. It's about forging alliances and understanding that leadership means bearing the weight of others' lives. Emma felt her pulse quicken with each thought. The narrow alleyways became a labyrinth. They turned corners that opened into dimly lit streets lined with tired storefronts. Emma's senses were heightened, scanning for signs of threats or safe havens. As they veered into another alley, the men were beginning to mirror her caution. "Emma," one of the men finally spoke, breaking the silence that hung over them. His voice was barely above a whisper, but the question behind it lingered thick in the air. "Do you really know where we're going?" The vulnerability in his query pierced through her facade. She paused, the gravity of her leadership crashing into her. Did she have an answer? In that moment, the confidence crumbled slightly. She didn't have a map or a definitive plan. She was navigating uncharted territory fueled by instinct. "We need to find a place to regroup," she replied, her voice steadying as she regained control of the situation. A flicker of resolve ignited her core. How could she possibly use this surge of leadership not only to guide them, but to discover more about herself? What untapped skills lay dormant, waiting for this moment of chaos to awaken them? They pressed on, and doubt mingled with newfound confidence, a duality that echoed her internal struggle. Emma clung to her instincts, the only compass she felt she could trust. With every breath, she absorbed the lessons of leadership, adaptability, listening, decisiveness, and she began to harness her every thought and action towards crafting a precise strategy. As they advanced deeper into the unknown, Emma realized the ultimate truth. Leadership was not about knowing every step beforehand. It was about the courage to step into the fray, to embrace the uncertainty, and to act decisively in its midst. Each challenge ahead now appeared as an opportunity for development. She sensed she would learn not only how to navigate this chaotic landscape, but also about the leader she would aspire to be. Suddenly, a loud noise erupted nearby, a shout followed by the unmistakable sound of a struggle. Emma froze, adrenaline surging through her veins. "What was that?" she breathed, scanning the area. With her heart racing, she knew the answers to the questions she had been confronting were just ahead. It was time for her to embrace another crucial decision. It was time to face whatever danger was ahead. Approaching. The next blow of chaos was not far off, and it beckoned her forward into the heart of the storm. Would she confront it or hide? Emma's muscles tightened, a reflex born of instinct and fear. The sound of the struggle echoed through the alley, raw and urgent. For a brief moment, she hesitated, contemplating retreat. But standing still was not an option. She was not merely a bystander anymore. She was responsible for the lives behind her. Their trust ignited her resolve. "What is it?" whispered another man, glancing nervously at Emma. Anticipation mingled with trepidation in his eyes. She took a deep breath, grounding herself. Staying true to her burgeoning instincts, she turned towards the commotion, her mind racing through possibilities. If someone was in danger, it could be a good opportunity to gain information that could bolster their situation. With slow determination, she moved forward, signaling the others to follow. As they approached the sound, Emma's senses sharpened. The acrid scent of sweat mingled with the dampness of the alley. Her heart pounded, a steady drumbeat that matched the rising tension in her throat. What if she was leading them into a trap? But the idea of unintentionally ignoring someone in distress gnawed at her conscience. That was not who she was becoming. With each careful step, she scanned for details. The shadows cast by nearby dumpsters loomed larger. But then, with a sudden twist of fate, she caught sight of two figures grappling, one clearly trying to overpower the other. The danger felt palpable, but an even stronger instinct urged her onward. "Stop!" she called out, her voice cutting through the air. To her surprise, it was firm, infused with a conviction she didn't know she possessed. The two figures halted momentarily, confusion flickering in their movements. "Get back!" shouted one man, clearly agitated. But something in that shout unraveled Emma further, and with it came a surge of adrenaline. She noticed a glimmer in the struggling man's hand, a weapon, perhaps. With a startled gasp, she scanned her surroundings for anything that could serve as an advantage. "Please, we need to help," she pressed, stepping closer, her own body a shield against the very threat she was trying to defuse. Behind her, the men shifted uneasily, echoing her confusion, yet captivated by the display of courage blossoming within her. The aggressor hesitated, bemused by Emma's unexpected intervention. His grip on the other man loosened for a fraction of a second, just enough for her to gauge the dynamics. She had to assess, to weigh options, to act before panic padded her decisions with hesitation. "Let him go," she stated, narrowing her gaze. To her shock, the tension shifted, not from the command, but the moment of realization. She wasn't just speaking to the men on the ground, she was articulating power and determination in that very space. The aggressor's nervous energy hinted at unpredictability, and yet, for the first time since stepping into leadership, Emma felt something akin wash over her. She wasn't merely trying to recreate the power dynamics she had felt so many times in her past. She was creating a new truth amid the chaos. The face of the man pinned down flickered with gratitude and recognition. His eyes spoke volumes. There was vulnerability, but also an ember of determination she recognized in herself. They were intertwined now, each of them on the precipice of possibility or peril. And then the world splintered again. Just as the aggressor's eyes darkened with anger, a figure loomed behind them, larger, imposing. Emma's heart dropped, realization dawning. This was not just an isolated incident. This was a confrontation that would ripple through her path ahead. It demanded urgency and quick thinking. Where would her courage lead her now? Would she press forward into the unknown of this confrontation, risking everything she had begun to build within herself? The choice lay ahead, and she could feel it tightening around her like a noose of reckoning. Realizing she was at a critical juncture, Emma's mind raced with possibilities. How could she pivot this situation into an opportunity? The stakes had never been higher. As she prepared to act, a new sound reached her ears, a siren wailing in the distance, and she knew it was time to make a definitive choice. Would she risk herself for the sake of others, or would that choice cost her everything? The siren's wail echoed off the alley walls, a harbinger of an impending crisis that seeped into Emma's bones. In that instant, her heart raced faster, propelling her disdain for hesitation into the urgency of action. Behind her, the others braced themselves, a mixed cocktail of fear and determination playing across their faces. They were looking to her, believing that she had the answers. "Let him go," she repeated, drawing strength from the newfound authority that pulsed through her veins. The aggressor's eyes darted between her and the man pinned to the ground, a precarious minute of uncertainty planting seeds of doubt in his bravado. But the looming figure behind them shifted forward, casting a long shadow that spoke of imminent violence. Emma's instincts clicked into overdrive. This was no longer a simple act of heroism. It had escalated into a life-and-death scenario demanding meticulous navigation. Analytically, she began to process the situation. Resolute steps could lead to either salvation or that of chaos. She couldn't falter now. "Please listen to me. We can resolve this peacefully," she urged, her voice steady, firm, yet edged with the weight of desperation. She shifted her body slightly, creating a barrier, emphasizing that the confrontation was not limited to brute force, but hinged on the idea of compromise. Her heart beat wildly, not just from fear, but excitement. She had crossed an intangible threshold. She was not just surviving, she was taking control. The tension crackled in the air, an invisible charge of potential energy that vibrated through the group. "You think they'll help you?" the aggressor sneered, aggression lacing his voice. "You're all on your own." But we're not alone. Emma's words resonated with a truth she had uncovered within herself. In that split second, she acknowledged her newfound identity, not only as a caretaker, but as someone capable of standing firm against coercive forces. The loyalty of the men behind her was palpable, lending her courage. She peeled her gaze from the increasingly hostile aggressor and stole a quick glance at the man on the ground. He was still vulnerable, eyes flickering back and forth, fear dousing their resolve as the conflict swirled. For a fleeting moment, she saw her own reflection in him, all the uncertainty, the self-doubt distilled into urgency. "Help if you can," she urged him silently through her eyes. "You are not alone." When she turned back to face the aggressor, she clutched her determination tightly. "We can work together, or you can risk losing everything." The aggressor's grip slackened, a slight flinch in his posture signaling the precarious state of his control. Emma seized the opportunity. Every pulse in her body screamed for her to act swiftly, get the man out, defuse the situation, rally the others. Quick breathing exercises not only calmed her, but sharpened her focus. As if taking a cue from her resolve, the man beneath the aggressor suddenly twisted and kicked, creating unexpected chaos. The move was instinctual, yet it catapulted Emma into action. Without overthinking, she lunged forward, her body a part of the rush unfolding around her as she pulled the restrained man from danger. In that life-altering moment, Emma realized that her instincts had awakened in a manner she never fathomed. The touch of courage she once thought was shielded behind layers of fear had burst through, exposing a leader of grit and fortitude. Just then, a voice growled from behind, "You're making a mistake." The looming figure had shifted, revealing more of his menacing frame, foreboding like an approaching storm. With heightened awareness, Emma felt the stakes rise sharply again. The remnants of her earlier shyness evaporated under the weight of urgent resolve. The threat she began to confront was transforming into a challenge that would plummet her deeper into a dark world she knew little about. The realization chilled her. This was more than instinct now. This was a battle brewing on the horizon, demanding her to dig deeper into the well of her own courage. Would the leadership discovered this night suffice against the very real dangers that lurked? The impending encounter lay ahead, breathless with uncertainty. Emma glanced back at her companions. Were they ready to follow her lead? The sirens sounded closer now, foreshadowing that a choice would have to be made. As they moved into the next moment, she understood something fundamentally potent. The outcome was yet undecided, but it would require every ounce of strength she had to navigate the brewing storm. Would her instincts prove sharp enough to guide them all safely through, or would this confrontation unravel the very growth she had begun to embody? Emma felt the tension thicken in the air as she confronted the looming figure. Her heart pounded, each pulse a stark reminder of the stakes at play. This was no longer just a fleeting moment. It was a crossroads grounded in her newfound resolve. Stepping further into the fray, she was now the embodiment of leadership, fueled by an unyielding instinct to protect those around her. The aggressor's glare hardened, but she stood her ground. "You're going to let him go," she stated with authority, her voice steady, imbued with a confidence that surprised even herself. This was not simply about survival anymore. It was about shaping her identity and proving to herself that she could steer this ship against turbulent waters. Recognizing the thrum of trust behind her from the men she had stood beside, Emma pressed on. "This isn't just between you and him. You're impacting a community. There are ways to gain respect without resorting to violence," she asserted, her words cutting through the tension with razor-sharp clarity. The aggressor hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his features. His bravado wavered, and for the first time, Emma glimpsed the underlying vulnerability beneath his hardened exterior. Had she found a chink in his armor? The swell of courage surged within her like a tidal wave as she sensed the shift. There was strength in vulnerability, and in recognizing this, they could forge a new relationship. Suddenly, the man on the ground shifted. "I don't want to fight, please," he pleaded, and his words electrified the atmosphere. Emma could see the fear soften into relief on his face as he registered her presence, a fierce protector amidst chaos. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, she took a tentative step forward. This can end right now, without bloodshed. Think of what you could gain instead of what you might lose. Emma's heart surged as she spoke from a place of authenticity, inherent in her motherly instincts. You can be leaders, but only if you embody what true leadership means. The aggressor's face contorted with frustration, caught between his desire for control and the conflict she had ignited within him. "You're crossing a line, little waitress," he spat, but the shaky inflection in his tone revealed his inner turmoil. "You won't walk away from this." "No," Emma shook her head. now speaking not just to him, but to the group at large. "You don't understand. I have been exactly where you are now. I've felt the pressure, the aggression, and the weight of expectation, but I chose to rise above it. If you follow through with this violence, it will only lead to darkness and chaos for everyone involved. You can change that narrative right now." Suddenly, the distant police sirens grew louder, a tangible reminder that time was running out. Emma felt the striking urgency of the moment intensify. This was her chance to break the cycle. She needed to show them that change was possible. "Will you risk everything for the hollow victory of aggression?" she continued, sensing the growing credibility of her position. "The community has voices that matter. Show them you are worthy of respect, not as enforcers of fear, but as protectors." Another moment of silence lingered before the air shifted again. The aggressor's shoulders slumped, and for that fleeting moment, she saw him weigh her words against the reality of his choice. With newfound resolve surging through her, Emma turned to her companions, a fiery determination burning within her chest. "I'm stepping into this with you, but we need to work together to bring real change." At last, the aggressor sighed, relenting in a way she hadn't gathered courage to hope for. "Fine," he grumbled, releasing his grip. "Let's talk then." In that moment, the sense of transformation swept over her, enveloping her in waves of pride and satisfaction. Emma, once merely the waitress, now stood fortified at the helm of her own destiny. She had not only navigated through chaos, but had emerged with a voice strong enough to demand peace where there was once despair. As the cold night air coursed over her, the sirens ebbed into the background, a reminder that safety was not just an external circumstance, but something she had forged through sheer willpower. Smiles mingled with tentative relief spread across the faces of her companions. Their acceptance solidified her new reality. She had unlocked the strength they had always sought. In that one pivotal moment, Emma put forth the foundations for a community driven by understanding and not merely survival. She knew this was just the beginning of her journey, a journey of leadership stronger than any scenario she had envisioned in the quiet confines of the diner. She had conquered more than just a dangerous situation. She had conquered her own insecurities and had emerged as a true leader with a renewed sense of identity, one illuminated by the bonds she would build within her community moving forward. Emma breathed deeply, the tumultuous shadows of the night retreating bit by bit as she stepped forward, ready to embrace the colors of a new future. A future where she would no longer just be Emma the waitress, but Emma the innovator, forging paths towards strength, dignity, and purpose. This was her life now, so where will you go from here? The stories that unfold stand on the edge of transformation, ready for you to write your chapter now. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It truly makes a difference. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to show your support.